2,000 acres, and 13,000 are being developed for distribution warehouses. You never saw so many car trailers in your life. And container freight, it's unreal. They figure to run 2,000 trucks a day out of there. And the building that she was talking about, where the tractors were built, it's about half the size of this.
Yeah, I think so.
And when last time I was in Elwood, it was still there.
Is that right?
Yeah. And that's, I found my tractor about 300 feet from there.
Oh,
That's really super. Thank you so much. Did you know Jake? Or did you know Dick?
Yeah, I knew Dick.
Did you? And is Dick still alive?
As far as I know, he's in Arkansas.
Is he? I think I talked to him about 10 years ago, and when he closed up that place, I think he went on tour, and he had the display lights for some music group. Dick was quite a character. When we had some teething problems with Elwood front axles, we kind of had the wrong sprocket in the transfer case. I had a 15 tooth up top and it needed a 14 to slow the front end down. So all those axles I put in, plus the ones that had been shipped, had to be changed. No, you had to take the transfer case out, take it apart, put that top sprocket in, back in. And then we come to find out that the new sprockets they had, some of them were too hard. And if you drop them on the floor, they'd shatter.
Oh.
Anyway, we kind of overcome all of that and had a good time. Front wheel assist tractors, or four-wheel drive tractors, are a strange phenomenon. When you're sitting in the seat driving one of them, which set of wheels can you see? In a front wheel assist, you can see the front ones. In an articulated tractor, the only ones you can see are behind. And when you get to pulling real hard with one, you can see the front wheels spinning. Or if you're using an articulated tractor, you can look back and the hind wheels are spinning. They're all tied together. One can't spin without the other end. But first thing that comes to mind, those wheels up front are spinning. I'll fix those, and we pile up a whole bunch of weight on the front. then we're pulling the whole load with the front wheels. And you knock the radius rods in the front wheels and break them all to pieces, knock the front end clear out from under the tractor. So that took an educating process to not really think of those front wheel assist tractors as four-wheel drive tractors. We did promote that, but we needed to have the front end so that when you came to the corner, you could turn without having to really stomp on the brakes and go back the other way. Out in this part of the country, we have an awful lot of strip farming with 40 rod strips and 80 rod strips. They're a mile long, and the engineers, thank goodness for them, but they want to have that front end moving faster than the rear wheels so that when you turn a corner, it's correct. So when you're doing mile-long strips, the darn thing is correct 5% of the time and wrong 95% of the time. I got to be pretty good friends with Lloyd. Lloyd was quite an antique collector, wasn't he?
That's what I understand.
He had some, I know he had a big Titan when we were back there in '62. Lloyd just insisted in '62 that Dad and I come back to the M&W Gear Show in Gibson City, Illinois that year. And we had to be there Friday night. And then we were going to be there Saturday and Sunday. But we had to make sure that we got in there Thursday night. They came into Chicago and picked us up. Because on Friday night, Holiday Inn had special on fried clams And Lloyd liked fried clams, and we had to drive Joliet to have fried clams. Can you remember fried clams in Joliet?
I remember they had them, I never had it.
Then on Saturday, we went down to the show, and I had never seen a big machinery show like that. Mowing tractors, hauling people around. That big old red and yellow tractor that Philip has, I think most all of you have seen it. That big demonstration tractor that everybody voted on, whether they liked brown frame tractors or red frame tractors with yellow hoods. That tractor was brought to our place for an open house, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Lloyd was also quite an avid antique tractor puller. You probably don't remember some of that, but he just insisted that I come back and see that. He says, "You won't believe what those guys do." Well, I didn't believe what they did, and on the way home, Dad and I were kind of discussing it on the airplane, and he says, "I'm sure glad that it hasn't hit out in our country yet, because I don't think both of us could afford the toys." Anyway, this red tractor that everybody was supposed to vote on, it was a special show tractor, and we got him to bring it to our place for an open house, and it was setting outside the building. We had the stands and had it jacked up and all four wheels turning, and it was idling. But the same thing they did at M&W show. Well, a fellow by the name of Grandpa John Shaw, which lives just over the Wildcat Hills and over on the Wyoming border, came down to that open house, and he walked into Dad's office right there right in the middle of the open house. It's always hectic with an open house. You can't talk to anybody very long. Everybody wants to know about all kinds of things. John come walking in there, says, "Foland, I want to buy that tractor out there and the new plow." Dad says, "John, I don't think I can sell you that red tractor. If I can't have that red tractor, I ain't gonna buy anything." Well, Dad wasn't going to miss the opportunity. You never miss an opportunity to sell something when you're a dealer. So he sold it to him. Then he called Omaha. He says, "I just sold that demo tractor, and says, I don't really know how to handle this." And the Omaha region manager says, "You did what?" He says, "You can't sell that tractor." He says, "I already got the money for it. How much do you want for it?" and he said, "Well, God damn you, Foland." Dad says, "Well, just go paint another one." He said, "Well, why don't you paint another one?" So John got that tractor, and they took real good care of it. I tried to buy it from the Shaw family over and over and over. Then Philip found it out there. And boy, when Philip gets his eye on something, nobody has a chance. Philip, where are you? Philip, did you see my brother come in with your seal a while ago? We can work again in the morning. The legend of, I suppose, Minneapolis-Moline will live on for a long, long time. Growing up in the business with my special friend, business partner, and brother, we still have a love for those old things. They haven't made us a lot of money for a long, long time. But we still fool with them. Irrigation motors mostly nowadays. I guess I'm about to run out of something to say unless I get the rest of Curtis's speech out and read it. But I would like to have you ask any questions that you can think of, or anything to add. Yes, sir.
Were the axles that you used on the front wheel assist, were they also military surplus, but Rockwell?
Now, let's see. The ones we used on which one?
The one that you used for front wheel assist?
Yeah.
Built by Rockwell?
You know, I don't know whether they're Rockwells or Spicers. I can't remember.
Double reduction?
No, single reduction. Is that Spicer?
Single reduction might be. I got Rockwell's under the big four.
Yeah. No, they didn't use the same axle. No. Lauren, have you got anything to add?
You're sure making it difficult.
Is that right?
You're over here, you're over there.
Well, the thing is, I learned a long time ago that if you write out a big speech and stand back here, nobody's going to pay attention to you.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
When they switched from the Elwood to the Coleman axle, was that because they ran out of the military surplus? Or was there
No,
something?
we were trying to get away from military surplus axles, and Elwood was trying to build their own. And if you have seen some of the later stuff that Dick built, it has a different axle under it. One tractor that comes to mind is some of them that Doug Cotton had. That has the later axle that Dick came up with. Yeah, they went to American Coleman because they wanted to sell a new axle. Excuse me just a second. I wish they wouldn't have used American Coleman. That was a very expensive axle to maintain. That big ring in there. And then it didn't take long for American Coleman to go out of business, and then we had an awful time getting parts for them.
Where was Elwood located?
In Elwood, Illinois, south of Joliet. And I think this fellow here could probably give you a better map than I got. Okay.
I got an Elmwood front axle with Army in this style. I got an Elmwood with a bigger bucket, then I got a Coleman. It's got a bigger housing and the bucket on the Elmwood. They're both two Elmwoods, but then the Coleman is different from that one.
Sure.
Then you said you come out with a different style Elmwood. Is that what I've got to?
I kind of think so. You don't have this fellow's got two different Elwood axles under his tractor, and one's got a bigger center section than the other one. But also the U-joints out on the end is a different looking thing too, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the drive gearbox sticks out from the side, comes out from the side, so it goes down to the
More like the later 706s with the Coleman axle under it.
Well, it turns way up, and the drive shaft is an angle instead of being more straight.
You don't have 23 to 26 tires on yours, do you?
This is on a 97 Max.
Then I can't really tell you what goes on there, because Massey was experimenting with some things too.
That's
Yeah. Elwin, you don't have any questions?
Not a damn thing today.
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Coming to Morton.
The first tractors that you folks experimented on, what models were they?
All of ours were G6, or was a G6 and a GB with a 6-cylinder motor in it. Those were the first two we put together.
So G6 and GB were
Yeah.
the testing
Yeah.
started.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always better to put them under a brand new tractor. Have you ever pulled apart and started work on the clutch on any of it?
You don't want to do that.
All that grease and buckets down the bottom. And you stood under there with a saber saw, and finally you get that hole saw, and crap falls down on you.
I work on Twin City, old stuff. So I've seen the crud and the grease and the crap just taking that.
Yeah, and you can't hardly get it out of there with a
It's hard.
putty knife.
Torch.
What?
Torch it.
Torch it out?
Warm it up and then scrape it out.
I always catch things on fire.
You don't use that much heat.
Oh.
Clean my you out like that.
Keith, haven't you got any questions for me? I'm going to try to have to stand still, but probably I ought to just quit so Lauren can have a little better luck with his camera.
That's fine.
Good thing you got that leg on there.
Am I being lasered all the time?
So I got one.
Yes, sir.
So were there any G6s that were actually fitted with the Elwood axle at the factory then? Or were they
Well,
all fitted after?
probably, let me put it this way. That's the way they did it, and then they put 704 decals and serial number plate on it. No, I don't mean to be facetious. The big problem that the engineers had with the Elwood front wheel assist was we were bolting that transfer case to an unmachined surface under there. Made it extremely difficult to line up the coupling chain. And if that coupling chain isn't lined up almost perfectly, then it doesn't stay in there. The other thing is you can't get the coupler pin in it. So when they started the 704s, they cast the transmission case with the hole in it, and they also machined that boss off, and that made things a lot easier. Now, when they went to the 705, 706s, if you look in the parts book, I believe, Clint, can you confirm this, but I think the first 500 705s had the hole in the bottom of it for a front wheel assist. I can't remember just how many they did build, but they machined that boss off, and then when they went with the American Coleman axle, then there was another batch of transmission cases that was machined off to put the Moline transfer case in there that ran off of, I believe, 4th gear. And they built, I don't know just exactly how many of those 705s with that machine transmission case, and then they quit that because they could save $75 a tractor by not machining them.
How long after did they start on the M5?
Now, let's see, where did you say?
I say, how long after the G6 or G704 did you go to the M5?
Oh, the M5 was going on simultaneously, yeah. You bet. And it was easier to put one on an M5 because they were using that front power takeoff hole at the bottom. You had to saw the back of the opening a little bigger to get that gear to come up in there to run on, let's see. Down there on that bottom shaft, that gear goes back for low, comes forward for fifth. Most of the other time it's just setting there stable. So we could have front wheel assist in all gears but fifth on the M5, which was really kind of a nice feature because as soon as you shifted into fifth, then you kicked it out. Yeah.
So 504 and 604 are all factory built.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting concept. It was very well received by most people. It really didn't catch on until John Deere invented it. That brings up a point. When you go to a big antique farm show, for all brands. Have you ever noticed that there are always way more John Deeres there than any other brand?
You know
Do you
what?
know, do you know why?
Why?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
John Deere built them 20 years longer than anybody else.
No.
Oh,
John Deere guys count everything, they bring in more in the next day.
oh.
John Deere guys go around the show and they count all the tractors and they say, okay, we've got this many John Deeres. So they gather up, they'll gather up their 15, 20, no more John Deeres show up the next day. I've had it happen at our show.
Oh, goodness. In the tractor pulling game, we have to be careful with the John Deeres. We have to be very careful that we don't make them mad. We want them to all come because they help pay for the sleds. I'm going to quit here. Kevin, you want this? You take this.